Sweden is a country where lots of people own cars, and for a long time owning a car was a symbol of democracy and a symbol of modernity. And a car is a very good way to travel as long as you're not trying to use it in the middle of the city, in the middle of the rush hour. If everybody chooses to drive a car in the rush hour, then nobody will get anywhere. It's bad for everybody. So to reduce traffic, to reduce car traffic, it might seem like an anti-car policy, but to just let the traffic come, to let more and more cars come, that's the real anti-car policy. We introduced a congestion charge as a trial in 2006. There was a general agreement amongst the citizens, and particularly amongst business, that congestion was costing the city a lot of money. It was bad for the environment, it was bad for people's health, and so the congestion charge was introduced in 2006 as a trial. The idea was that people would be able to see what the effects were and then decide for themselves if they wanted to keep it. The main way that we overcame the issue, or the nervousness of both the politicians and the citizens and business, was just to have this trial period, to be able to demonstrate what the impacts of the congestion tax were, so that people could see for themselves and make a decision for themselves. Is this a good thing or not? Our congestion charge had a very positive impact. The number of vehicles entering the centre of the city fell by around 20% as a result of the congestion tax. But the main effect is felt on the roads to and from the city. The time that people spend in queues while trying to get into the city have reduced by between 30 and up to 50% in some cases. There are still queues, of course. There's always queues in a big city in the rush hour, but the queues are much shorter and the journey times are much more reliable. The congestion tax is the only thing we've been able to do for the last 50, 60 years that's actually reduced the traffic and has maintained that reduction in traffic. Big companies want to be in the centre of Stockholm. It's a very attractive location, and now that there's less congestion, it's an even more attractive location for customers, for businesses to locate there. I think the congestion was more of a problem for the businesses to locate in the city and was forcing them to move out. Now that there's less congestion, they're much more willing to be there. It's the best place to be, it's the centre of Stockholm. The congestion tax generates around 70 million euros per year in net revenue, so profits that we put back into the transport system. The city has very ambitious plans to expand principally the public transport system.
If you want to eliminate congestion, you have a massive upgrade of the public transport. There have to be financial incentives, disincentives, so you have really good deals on public transport to make it attractive, and you have to have congestion charging to actually send the other signal. And the congestion charge in London, and Stockholm has done the same, is very successful. Traffic engineers and politicians still work on a 1960s model, which is you predict the future and you say there will be more traffic. We call this in England predict and provide. Then you build the road because you think there'll be more traffic, and the road ensures that there will be more traffic. Traffic always rises to the level that it can reach, dictated to by capacity. It fills up and then it stops again, and this is a fundamental behavioural problem with transport, that if you add extra capacity, it sends a signal to people that they should make more trips by car. I mean, the M25, I think, is a particularly good example of what happens when you add extra capacity, because it started off as a dual 3-lane, so it was 3 lanes in each direction. Then sections of it were made 4-lane, and some sections made 5-lane, on the argument that there was a lot of congestion and this would solve congestion. And the M25 was expected to take the vast amount of traffic out of London so people would go around and not clog up the streets in London. It was built, it was very expensive, and in terms of what it was designed to do, it is a total failure. The M25 is totally jammed up. It is called the most expensive and largest car park in Europe. That's what the press, the media call it in Britain. Every day traffic leaves the M25 and finds lots of other roads through villages, past schools, past hospitals, through residential areas, rat running, and the drivers think they're very clever and they think they know the best rat run, but so do another 10,000 drivers, and they end up creating a big mess. It was expected to be better, and it gets worse. But in a political sense, the things that need to be done tend to fall off the list. We tend to, it's not a complaint about Belgium or Brussels, In Britain, you know, we often have a list, or we'll add extra lanes on the motorway, we'll improve the rail system, we'll build a new tram system, and off we go. And then we build the roads, and then we say, oh, really sorry, we have a budget crisis with no money left. It never works the other way around. We never build the trains and the trams and bus lanes and then say, I'm sorry, there's no money left for the road. It always works the other way around. So you have to be aware that there's a big dangers in saying that we will, for example, improve lane capacity and we'll improve public transport. If that's a political decision, almost certainly it will go wrong, because there'll be a budget crisis. The money will be cut and the public transport bit will fall off the list. We're not doomed, you know, we have a bright future available to us, but we have to be a little bit brave.